Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So today we're going to be talking about soils. So here's what we're going to go over today. So I'll talk a little bit about who I am. Don't pay attention to student introductions, that's for later. Soil basics, soil types, soil testing, and soil ecosystems. So this is me. This is a picture of me in New Zealand on a study abroad trip. So I have a Bachelor of Science in Conservation Biology from SUNY ESF, which is the College of Environmental Science and Forestry in New York. Ever since I was a kid, I wanted to be a scientist. I was definitely inspired by Steve Irwin and watching him on The Crocodile Hunter, and going to Hawaii when I was, I want to say 6 or 7 years old. I saw the coral reefs and climbed Diamond Head. Saw a really cool show where they dove, where they cliff dove. It was pretty cool. But ever since then, I wanted to be a biologist. During school, I realized that I really liked talking to all my friends about scientific facts, and probably to the point where I'm kind of annoying my wife. But my friends always say after they talk to me that they always learn something, so I wanted to give people some practical skills along with some cool scientific facts along the way. Like I said before, I had some really cool experiences while I was actually in college studying my degree. I have field experience through going out to Cranberry Lake, where we learned all kinds of really cool stuff and actually got to do our own research. I did a research project on fish blindness. Let's see. And then, of course, I did study abroad in New Zealand, which is really, really cool. I studied myctophids. So we covered topics like oceanography, microbiology. Also, myctophids are lanternfish, for those of you who don't know. We studied the water cycle and the AMOC current, which is the current responsible for distributing nutrients across the ocean, and lots and lots of other cool stuff. Let's see. During my last year in college, I decided to do this class after taking a public speaking course, which, this being my first live, and my actually my first class, I'll probably get better as I go along, so bear with me. So let's get started with soil basics. So let's talk about what soil is made of, which is a lot more than just dirt. So all of the stuff of life, essentially, on land is in soil. Plants grow from soil. A lot of things live in soil. There's mineral particles like silt, clay, and sand, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. Dirt is also basically dissolved organic matter or decayed organic matter. It's all processed by bacteria, insects, uh, worms, all kinds of stuff. And soil is, like I said earlier, the sustenance for all living things on Earth. So we rely on soil. And actually, a good quote that I heard from one of my professors is that we owe our existence to a 6-inch top layer of soil and the fact that it rains, which I totally agree with. So, soil is nutrients, support, and it also holds water. So, here are the soil types and why they matter. So, first we have clay, which if you live in the Northeast or even I think the Southeast, towards Georgia and Florida, they have a lot of clay soil. Um, so clay gets sticky when it's wet. Silt is like tiny little particles of like kind of a looser soil. It's silky smooth when wet. And then sand, of course, or hopefully everyone knows what sand feels like. The loam in the middle is actually what you want when you grow plants. And I'm going to go over how to tell which type you have and which the benefits and the drawbacks of each in this graph. So if you have sandy soil, your water and nutrient holding capacity is very low, which is why not a lot of stuff grows in sand. Like in deserts, it takes a lot of hardiness and drought resistance for plants to grow in sand. Infiltration and drainage is really fast, so sand doesn't tend to hold water well. Leaching potential is high. So leaching potential is essentially the potential for soluble minerals to leach away from the soil. And all of those soluble minerals are what you want to grow plants. So this means that sands, because they are so spread out and gritty and they don't hold a lot of water and they drain really fast, it means all the nutrients basically go with the water. The aeration is good, which sand being loose, that makes sense. So loams, which is a mixture of silt and clay and medium textured soils, which is what we want to stay in. So here is, everything is basically moderate. And if you have, let's say you add a little bit more clay, your water and nutrient holding capacity goes up. And infiltration and drainage slows down, of course. So this is why a lot of ponds have a clay bottom, because it holds water really well. So how do you tell which soil type that you do have? So where I live in Syracuse, most of us have a top layer of clay soil. And this is for a couple of reasons. One is everyone grows grass in their yard, and that's what I started with in my own yard. Okay, so I'm going to talk about why grass is not super great for creating the type of soil that you want. And one reason is because grass, or at least the type of grass that we tend to grow on our lawns, number one, it's invasive, so it doesn't provide nutrients back into the soil. So it usually tends to soak up all those nutrients. And eventually the soil is not going to be productive or as productive as it could be if it had loamy soil. The second reason is because growing just grass promotes a monoculture, which lowers diversity. It's like a desert for biodiversity, which we will cover later in a future lecture. So just keep that in mind. Part of it is also the area. So like I said, a lot of places on the East Coast have clay soil. There's this great tutorial on the Clapp Memorial Library website that has a test that you can do that's less than 15 minutes to tell which type of clay or which type of soil you have if you're not sure. And so if you have like a sandy soil or a clay soil, how do you improve it? So the best way to improve it is by adding organic matter, because that's what soil is decayed organic matter. So what lives in there anyway? So I think I said at the beginning, soil hosts not only like bacteria and worms, but also insects, and a really important part is fungi. So fungi mostly live underground through a network called mycelium, and this allows for the transfer of nutrients through the soil, and helps plants grow, helps trees grow, and also provides nutrients for stuff that lives in there. Excuse me. So the soil is an ecosystem because there's a lot more stuff that lives in there than like just worms or bugs. And actually, a fun fact about bugs, if we didn't have them, our decayed organic matter would actually be piled miles high, because one of their main functions, aside from being pollinators, is like eating organic matter. And while we're on the topic of decay, I want to give you a couple of cool bug facts besides the fact that they process our organic matter. So butterflies actually love to eat dead things. They love blood and shit and salt. And there are even butterflies who primarily give each other poison, like the monarch butterfly. And let's see, what was the other one? Oh, right. So insects can also be used in forensics because the order in which they appear on the body can tell the detective, or not the detective, the mortician, the time of death based on which insect they find on the body at the time. So that's really cool. And that's pretty much it, except for next session. If you wanted to do a little bit of homework, you could dig a little bit of a hole in your yard and do the test online to see what kind of soil you have, and we can go from there.